Welcome back to another bite-sized episode of the Realm Kast. So, Mortal Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns has just been revealed, and we are actually going to bring you your first deep dive look at everything that was just included in the trailer.
This is completely unrehearsed, and you might notice why I'm smiling so much, because I got you to say Khaos Reign instead of Khaos Reigns. It worked.
I was going to do that anyways. I don't know if you noticed all the typos that happened on our... we're going to be going through and just kind of pointing out everything that we've found, because Yanni has been looking at this trailer frame by frame while I took a nap. And just kidding.
Tim is saying that we've been making sure to try and compile all the stuff that we've found in the trailers.
Yes, and you can find that on all of our social media at Realm Kast. So definitely check it out. All right, Yanni, should I just kick this off?
There are no sacred laws, no divine rules. I choose what is right. I hold the power. And I choose to bless all beings everywhere with anarchy.
Obviously, I mean, I say obvious, but obvious to us, they're in Chaos Realm. And the reason we say that is because, you know, we've seen Chaos Realm kind of hinted at in Mortal Kombat 1 with the current invasions mode and things like that.
I mean, that to me definitely looks like Chaos Realm. It coincides with everything we know about the Chaos Realm. I mean, just the fact that it looks chaotic says it all. Although I'm trying to see if there's any semblance of the Saito Realm, right? The Order Realm, because based on what's happened in the ending for, was it Reign and Havoc or just Reign? But Reign and Havoc pretty much decimate the entire city of Saito, I believe.
Well, yeah, and also with Havoc's original bio that was released too.
About Havoc not being an actual Chaos Realmer now. So from what it seems like, there is no Chaos Realm, at least at the point of Mortal Kombat 1's story beginning. So Havoc is actually a denizen of the Order Realm, rather than being a natural Chaos Realmer like he used to be. So we would assume, based on everything that has happened that we've seen from the biographies and such, that this is the Saito Realm turned Chaos Realm. But at the same time, it is important to remember that this Titan Havoc is, well, we're assuming Titan Havoc is a different Havoc than the one in this realm. So this could be a different, in this timeline. So this could be a different timeline too.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, as we've seen with some of these other timelines, we still have things like the original universe out there, like the original timeline. I don't multiverse shenanigans. So yeah, this maybe the realm that this Titan Havoc comes from has a Chaos Realm rather than having this
very good point.
Mortal Kombat 1 thing. So and then also right off the bat we see the embassy of Havocs, or I don't know what you want to call them. It reminds me of the Kang Easter egg in one of those like last Marvel movies that came out recently.
Don't skip ahead so quickly. In fact, I'd like to talk about the second of the trailer, where we see the group walking.
Okay, yeah. So
who's there?
You know, you mentioned as we were doing our reaction that you saw Cyrax and Sector, but I'm not sure who all is there.
So I've had a look at it, and I mean, obviously we have Sector and Cyrax there at the back. We seem to have Kuei Liang walking next to somebody that I can't make out. So looking at them, they seem to have a backpack and wearing a helmet, and I'm wondering, and I'm really hoping I'm wrong, that it looks to be a Special Forces member. It looks like a soldier.
Yeah, it does. Like an actual like army man soldier.
Yeah, exactly. And then in front of them, I initially thought that was Melina. Somebody else said it looked like Tanya.
Yeah, it looks like Melina to me.
Right?
But you know, they're all silhouettes, so it's hard to be sure.
Sacred laws, no divine rules.
And we see Havoc walking up a set of stairs to what I'm assuming is his throne, and we see in the two scenes that follow that there's like heads, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering if those heads have any significance just to the actual lore. Maybe not to the the main story itself, but I'm wondering if, I don't know, those are previous Titans, or something, or
the head on the right for some reason reminds me of Dark Empress. I think it was Dark Empress Katana.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about because of the sort of crown or tiara or whatever they're wearing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm wondering who it could be. It kind of gives me sort of Elder God in MK4 and MK11 vibes. You know how they talk to them.
Right. Yeah. But but I don't know. They look very
dead.
So, but maybe in this timeline, Havoc has managed to kill the Elder Gods. If this is an Elder God thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I wonder just how far his power extends, and that is sort of furthered by what you were just asking about with the group of Havocs.
Choose what is right. I hold the power.
There's a group of, Havocs, all wearing different Havoc customization, and it's interesting because I'm not sure if I'm misremembering, but have we gotten Havoc's MK Deception helm? Unless that's the default one and I'm getting confused, it does look reminiscent of it. So it could just be the default, which has, that style in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does look like it. It definitely looks like it there.
There are no sacred laws, no divine rules.
Havoc says there are no sacred laws, no something rules or something. And that makes me wonder about the discussion we just had regarding whether or not if it used to be the Saito realm or not. Because it sounds to me like it was Saito and he took it, just like he took it and made it the Chaos realm, just like the Havoc in the main, I'm gonna quote unquote there, air quotes, for the main timeline. So I'm wondering if it's the same thing, because he says, I'm going to bless everybody with anarchy. I'm going to choose the rules, which is, ironic because anarchy, chaos.
So we see the scene of him going up the staircase, and we mentioned the heads, but the scene immediately following that, it's the same scene. Like, you can see the throne standing there,
and you can even see the group of Havocs in the bottom left. Yes,
and then also the heads are still there, but it looks like they're possibly chained.
Yes.
Which,
although I only see one head in the next scene.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just perception or like the viewpoint we're getting, the vantage point of it. But the fact that there's a big chain there, it makes me wonder if you could be onto something with what these heads could be, if they're important at all, rather than just some kind of design aesthetic.
I do just want to mention quickly, which we will address later, but in our sort of the reaction to the trailer, immediately when I saw Havoc, I said, "What's that on his chest?" Right? I want to come back to that, and when we get to the scene where we can see them entirely. But sorry, please continue.
This new Havoc is different from ours. He doesn't want freedom. He wants to burn everything down.
We see again the Havoc-looking Kenshi that we had seen at the end of
Chaos Kenshi.
Yeah. That we saw at the end of Mortal Kombat 1, like that final scene
on
before
the stairs. The pyramid.
And so, and there is voice overlay on this talking about how this Havoc is different, and he basically wants to see everything burned to the ground. Which, is that really that different from Havoc? I mean, I guess Mortal Kombat 1 Havoc was kind of following orders more than we've ever seen a Havoc do before.
Yeah, and they might not be too accustomed to how he ends up at the end, but I don't see how they could miss the fact that he and Rain destroyed Saito. So
yeah,
I don't know. There must be some more dialogue we're not getting that makes, or rather more exposition we're getting when it actually drops. It gives us more distinction between the two Havocs, I'm sure. But I think one thing to focus on is the fact that Takeda seems to be there. Chaos Takeda.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. So are you sure that's Chaos Takeda?
I'm pretty sure, because that mask and that headband, that's his gear. And then
he's
I'm pretty sure the whips.
Headbands, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. No. Actually, You could argue that Reiko and potentially Havoc do as well. But the mask and the headband together, that's Takeda, plus the whips, I'm pretty sure, at the back, and the color scheme. It looks to be, I'm going to say yellow, orangey, and black.
Yeah, it's definitely that same kind of color scheme.
And the eyes look very chaotic.
Reminds me of like a punk rock Takeda, if you will.
Yeah, I disagree.
That's a throwback to one of our previous bite-sized episodes. If you're interested, we'll leave a link for that one.
They nailed it. That's all I'll say.
So immediately after that, you do see his chest kind of light up. Do you want to talk about that yet, or should we wait?
We'll wait, because there's a better scene that I do want to talk about there.
Okay.
To do with that, rather. But right after that, we see, I believe it's Geras chained up.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Geras. And you see these kind of tentacle things descending from the ceiling to where he's at. And he's full of these like matrix plugs in his back. And, Geras is the keeper of the hourglass. So maybe that has something to do with this. Maybe Havoc is here for that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly, because assuming there are multiple Gerases too in all the timelines, and everybody is every timeline would have a Titan, then those Titans have their own Geras, and so they have their own hourglass to maintain, as we've seen from the end of Mortal Kombat 1. So maybe Titan Havoc has been using Geras in this fashion.
Right.
But I'm more curious about the cables you mentioned, because we see them both with Geras and in the next scene with Bihan.
Yeah, and they kind of emerge from behind Havoc.
Yeah.
And do you is it coming out of him, or is it some kind of device he has there? It's giving me kind of Star Wars interrogator type vibes. Whenever he sends the drone in to do interrogations on people, and it has like all these weird things around it. So
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, like he uses it on Bihan Sub-Zero, or he's about to.
Yeah, and you see in that scene where Bihan's looking terrified as they're coming towards him, it looks to have some liquid in them. I'm gonna say it's liquefied chaos energy or something, because it seems like as we go through the trailer that this is going to be used to convert Bihan into a chaos version of Noob Saibot. But let's see how it goes.
Let real warriors handle this. My will is unbreakable.
We get our first look at Sector and Cyrax, the new Sector and Cyrax, I guess. Like I don't, or should we call her Shector and Shirax?
Oh God, that was so bad.
I know, but it's gonna be a thing.
Oh my God, yeah. I'm sure there will be many names. I think they look pretty cool, and kind of the masks are Predator-esque.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, they have the same kind of look to them as
they've always had the sort of cables as well, and those, we called them Scarlet Spider arms. I think it's interesting. It's a cool addition.
It's definitely an interesting take. I find it kind of funny that we just got Takeda, and modders have already started turning Takeda into Spider-Man. And
have they? That makes sense, actually. Yeah,
it works because Takeda has like all the swing moves and stuff, and now we have Sector, and I can totally see them going with a Scarlet Spider take on this one. But after we see her revealed, we get a better look at the armor that's on her, and not just the spider arms, but it has like the Lin Kuei emblem on the back of it, and even says like Lin Kuei on the bottom, as if it's like a manufacturing company now.
You'd think that, that such a clan would try and keep it to be a bit more secretive, but I'm going to go further. You just said it has Lin Kuei at the bottom. It actually says Lin Kuei Industries.
Oh, Industries. Really? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
So,
So
I guess they've gone global.
They've gone global, right? The next scene shows the Shaolin Temple being attacked.
Right. From what appears to be both Sector and Cyrax.
Yeah. So it's a Lin Kuei led attack, and we can even have a look quickly at the outfit, as you said, the armor. They both seem to have these I'm gonna call them medals, but they're like attached to tassels on the robes, kind of.
Right. And I don't know, do you think that has any significance, or is it just how they're wearing this new tech?
I think it could be a new way of distinguishing the Lin Kuei from, for example, the offshoot Shirai Ryu, as well as the updated version of the Lin Kuei to become Lin Kuei Industries.
And we haven't mentioned, but these appear to not be cyborgs. Like, it appears to be armor. I don't think we've mentioned that yet.
No, but we will get to a scene where we can talk about that in more detail, I think, very soon. A very heavy focus on air combat with Sector. Very cool.
Yeah, and then Cyrax, from the cutscene, we see her running up the wall as if, she has like magnetized boots or something. And I'm curious if that's going to come into her gameplay at all, because that could be some cool kind of mechanics. Maybe they're using that for some of the aerial combat on her, because during her fight scene you do see her do like this movement where she stops midair and kind of does like a circle kick while she's still up in the air. So
yeah, I'm just a bit confused as to why she was on the roof if they just blew up the door. Got to make that crazy entrance, right?
Yeah. And we mentioned this during the reveal when we first watched it, but Cyrax does have a new net, it seems. I don't even know if we call it a net anymore. It reminds me of like construction installation foam.
Yeah. It's a very interesting take on the net, and as I believe we said on our reaction, we still have the net as a cameo move anyway, so it's cool to see this. It's a nice sort of take on it. Yeah,
it is. And she's also, the old Cyrax would drop out the bombs out of her chest, or out of his chest. But this new Cyrax, it appears like she's just kind of throwing them around at people, and that's how it's being utilized.
And also using them to teleport, because before Cyrax would literally dismantle.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Ever since,
right?
Yeah, like,
but that's also similar to, I believe, what we got in MK9. And also, that's something you're forgetting, because I'm pretty sure in MK9, Cyrax would throw them, because they did have a Cyrax and Sector both had human skins, right? Their original forms.
Right.
Both of them seem to have a cool focus on air combat, but Cyrax as always seems to have a focus on keeping their opponent in the air instead, with this time throwing the bombs, but still sort of leaving them to explode later, sort of trapping setups. But then there's a really cool new move where she grabs them in the air and does like sort of double backflip and slams them into the ground. It's pretty cool. I'm very interested in seeing more of their combat, but one thing we are missing, I believe, in this whole trailer is the buzzsaw.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We haven't seen that at all. And that mid-air leg grab thing, I think that's using that boot mechanic. Which is cool how they try to...
Could just be using her legs, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Well, it has that same green light up effect that happens when she's running up the wall. So I think it's cool how they're trying to keep everything kind of in universe with their story mode too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The future is chaos. All must embrace it.
Right off the bat, that voice.
Yeah.
Say the thing. Say the thing that you don't want me to say. You say it.
What's that?
What does his voice sound like? It's very...
ethereal.
For those of you who don't know, he hates it every time I say that. I don't know why. It's just
it's because you have to. There's like 2 words you throw out in every episode, and I'm not gonna say the other one because I'll let our viewers figure it out. But no matter if it's our full Realm Kast,
it fits. Okay.
So yes, here we have our first look at Noob Saibot, and he
looks glorious.
It's a different Noob Saibot.
Oh yeah,
you know, like he's got that green glow coming out of him. I mean, he looks broken, honestly, in a cool way. Yeah,
shattered kind of from the torso.
Right off the bat, you see him fighting
himself.
Is that him? No, who is that he's fighting? Is it
that's Chaos Bihan?
Oh, and Chaos
So
Bihan's
remember that
the
season where they nailed the designs of the skins. I'm sorry to anybody at NRS watching. I'm sorry, but I can't not say it.
Okay, so the season of the Huntress. This is Huntress Bihan. So for those of you who don't know, the season of the Huntress, we had a whole episode on this, but the skins seemed much more Havoc-y and Chaos-y than they seemed Melina-y.
But they were passed off as being punk rock style.
Yeah. But this definitely looks like a season of the Huntress Bihan with his mohawk. Even like you're completely right. That's the skin in my opinion.
Well, no, for sure, because he's using ice. He's literally throwing out ice balls. So that's definitely Bihan fighting Bihan, which is quite interesting because that would mean that Havoc brought Bihan from what I assume is the main timeline and converted him using chaos magic when he already had a chaos Sub-Zero, or a chaos Bihan.
Right.
And so why is chaos Bihan fighting Bihan, who has been converted to Noob Saibot with chaos? Does that mean that chaos Bihan doesn't agree with Havoc's methods?
Or does that mean that Noob Saibot joins forces against Havoc at some point in the story?
Or is he his own entity, as he was always in, or as he became in the original era, right? Because Noob Saibot was initially used as a pawn, but then decided, I serve myself. That's when he reprogrammed Smoke, etc., right? And Deception.
I mean, so Bihan can't be controlled. That's all there is to that.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. So if anything, that kind of fits with the Chaos theme. If anything, he's becoming very OG Havoc.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But looking at what he says...
The future is chaos.
The future is chaos. All must embrace it. He has clearly embraced chaos with this conversion, as I'm going to keep calling it. And it's a very different Noob Saibot, but he still has his shadow.
You know, I think a chaotic Noob Saibot really works, honestly.
Yeah.
Just
not the Netherrealm Noob Saibot we're used to.
Yeah, but he still has that darkness, and like Noob Saibot brought so much chaos to the storylines in the original timeline. So it's cool to see this take on him. I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah, and you know, I mentioned on our reaction to the reveal trailer that he's got green energy now instead of purple, but I'm noticing that he has both. The Shadow Clone seems to have some purple hue to them as well, and I love how seamless the clone is in the fight.
In Mortal Kombat 11, it was like the Shadow Clone was its own entity. In these cutscenes, it looks like it's an extension of Noob.
Yes.
Like, not like it's a completely different character.
Yeah.
And
like
that's cool to see.
As MK11 Noob Saibot's clone was called.
Right.
I'm just wondering also about the dialogue, because this is so Noob Saibot. It's as dramatic as it gets. Bihan, I am he. That's as noob as it could have gotten. You know, it's not just that's me. I am he. Not even I am him, or he is me, or yes, that's me.
Yeah.
It's very Noob Saibot dialogue.
Though not as you remember.
And as he says that, we get another scene where we see Geras
chained
being
up
held
again.
there. And this answers what we were just discussing, by the way. That is Geras from the main timeline who is chained up, and there is a Chaos Geras behind him.
Right, yeah. So
we were
there
wrong.
it is.
We just proved
Yeah.
ourselves wrong. Good job.
And it seems like Bi-Han is being dragged in place next to Geras,
Yes.
and then tortured.
So maybe they're using Geras's powers as well for this. I'm not sure.
Or maybe they're harnessing Geras for whatever he's
Yeah,
doing. Yeah,
exactly,
or maybe
yeah.
he could be getting all the Gerases, like from all the multiverses.
And then Noob Saibot says the thing.
Perfected me.
What has he done to you? He has perfected me.
Yes.
Quan Chi, what? And then we see a big battle. Well,
With-
what seems to be everybody, once again. We see Chaos Bi-Han being grabbed by shadow hands, shadow tendrils, as he's held up by Noob Saibot and then torn apart in half.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this part too is, as we were looking through this, we noticed that the in-game shots and the cinematics are very different, and this appears to be part of the story mode cinematics. So
Yes.
it's not an in-game fatality from what we can tell. It looks like Bi-Han kills Bi-Han.
Yeah, but that will come up again in a bit. But one thing I do want to address that we kind of ignored is the fact that they seem to be working with Sector and Cyrax when we also just saw Sector and Cyrax attack the temple.
I write that up to, kind of different points in the story.
Story progression, of course. I'm just curious
yeah.
as to how they get to that point,
Right.
It's very interesting to see that they could either start as allies or end as allies, or
Yeah.
a bit of everything in between, as we
Well,
might see later in this trailer.
In the old timeline too, we ended up seeing Cyrax become an ally to the forces of good, but Sector never really did come around. So
Well, no, Sector went full evil.
Yeah.
Starting the Tikkunin and everything. So I'm curious if that's going to happen again. That scene with Noob Saibot Matrix vaulting over
I know.
the kunai is just so cool.
Yeah. It feels like the battle that we've always kind of wanted to see is just like a really good Scorpion, or I take that back, a really good Kuai Liang versus Noob Saibot scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that it's Scorpion versus Noob Saibot, like, we've always kind of want to see that too. So
Yeah.
you kind of
It's a combination.
Yeah, I miss Sub-Zero Kuai Liang, but this is a cool scene from what it looks like.
And then we see some Noob Saibot gameplay, and that is very cool because we see a sort of blend, in my opinion, of MK9 and MK11.
Yeah.
Because you'll see the shadow being thrown out and then rolling them backwards, throwing them into the air, which is very MK9 style. I don't know if you remember I remember back forward triangle to make the clone jump on them, or you've got the kick, etc., etc. And so in this one, I think we get a bit of everything. So you'll see initially throws him into the air. You get this sort of kick that had me wondering if they brought that forward from MK11, because he has that kick in MK11, and then he does his portal grab, and then throws his portal, all green by the way, not purple, as we mentioned earlier. And then what's really cool to see, and this is something that reminds me of MK9 too, but it's very different. It must be a combo, I suppose, or it's maybe meter burned and I just didn't notice, but he sweeps Scorpion as he lands, and then his shadow comes out and just whacks him too, and it's so funny, but I'm wondering how it works mechanically in the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just interesting to me because it reminds me of in MK9, where I think it was back forward X, you can do a shadow slide. I think it might also be an 11 now that I think about it, but it's a slide. He comes out and he's the clone is like sort of a low slide, which hits you low, if you know what I mean. And so I'm wondering if that's sort of a take on it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But that's not meter burned. I just checked, so I'm really curious how that works. But the scene, is that Liu Kang's temple?
Yeah, it looks like it. It's decimated.
Again, but this time in pink fire.
Right.
Or maybe it's just the lighting is different. I don't know. Could this be a variation, or am I just misremembering it?
I don't know.
Shall
It seems different to me. Like there even seems to be some new metal pieces and stuff in the background. So I feel like this might be a new stage or a new
Could be, yeah.
variation
variant
of
of
the
the
stage.
stage.
Yeah.
First Shang Tsung, now this Havoc.
Now this is what I was talking about earlier with Havoc. Those things on his chest. I, on our reaction, said, what if those are the Kamidogu? I stick by that.
How many Kamidogu were there?
Good question. Was it 6? I've honestly been so confused now with all the timelines. And the fact that Chaos Realm suddenly doesn't exist, etc., etc. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was 6. I was correct.
Yeah, I mean, we have 6 marks on him. I think you definitely could be right. And they all kind of have similar shapes to what we remember of the Kamidogu.
Even we had Earth Realm, Nether Realm, Chaos Realm, Order Realm. What am I missing? Edenia and Outworld. It's very obvious. And now let's look at the colors instead. So we've got greenish bluish, let's just say turquoisey kinda, purple, red, yellow, blue, and let's just say yellow and white. Those match up. Those all match up. We got every single color there. Shape-wise, I can see what you're saying, because when you said the shape, I was wondering about the NetherRealm one, the red one, because it looks kind of, I don't know, multi-cornered, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of edges to it. There's a lot of points, rather. Sorry.
I think that NetherRealm one's in the middle, and on this, yeah.
Yep. So, and then on top of that, let's just say the white one, it kind of does look like the yin yang one, right? So I'm wondering if that does match up with what you're saying, because that could be Edenia, you know? So it does make sense. And then even the purple one for Outworld is the most round.
Yeah.
So I think I hit it on the money the moment I saw it.
I think so. Which, you know, I know this is different lore than we're used to, but, you know, in the original lore, when the Kamidogu came together, we would get the one being. But, I mean, that's all, ever since the Titans, I don't know what the status is of that anymore. And so, could this be the one being in Havoc? I don't know. What do you think?
Hold on. You make a very good point, but I'm starting to wonder. I'm looking more at that yellow icon, and I'm wondering if that's not the Chaos one, because am I seeing 2 dots on there that look like the yin yang symbol?
Possibly.
Because if that's the case, then that could be the Edenia Kamidogu. And even the white one kind of has a similar shape to it. But
I think you're splitting hairs at this point.
Well, am I? Because now that I look at the white one, yes, it's a different color, but it seems to have the same shape as the Earthrealm Kamidogu. So what if he's corrupted each of the Kamidogu with chaos energy, which is kind of like muddling them up? And I know I'm probably diving way too much into it, but I don't know. I see the shape of the Earthrealm and the Edenia Kamidogu here. I do. I see it. So I'm really wondering if it could have something to do with that. But, you know, I could be completely wrong, and everybody at NRS is laughing at me, in which case, awesome, you know? But I don't know. I like, these are definitely the Kamidogu, in my opinion. And you're right.
Yeah.
If it is the Kamidogu and they've all been brought together, then what does that mean for, well, I mean, everything? We know that the one being is the realms, is everything, right?
Yeah.
And what does that mean for timelines?
Yeah, well, and that's another good question is, how does the one being exist in the multiverse?
Could there only be one being? And if so, does that mean that putting the Kamidogu together in one timeline could bring the one being for all of them? You know, because we only had, for example, one Chronica. Is that not the case?
Yeah.
But then we talked about this because this creates an inconsistency, because if that is the case and Liu Kang has become the Titan, then why are there multiple Liu Kangs as well, right? So this is where the inconsistencies sort of begin. This is the problem with the multiverse and everything. I'm not a fan of it. But I don't know. I still think it's really cool that we've got the Kamidogu here.
Well,
If it is them.
touching on the Kamidogu too, this is traditional Kamidogu, which in Mortal Kombat X comics, which they have come out and said is not actually canon, but in the comic books, the Kamidogu were manifested as knives. But this definitely, just the fact that we can compare them to the Kamidogu and see that it is basically similar shapes and similar colors, like that's cool to me that we're getting some of that old lore back into Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 1, ever since it's come out, it's been a bit of a love letter to the 3D era.
Yes.
I
love that so much.
Yeah.
I really, really am happy that it's been done in this way. I seriously appreciate it, because how much time have we spent saying, please, we want to see more 3D era, and we're getting it now with the roster and so heavily in the story too.
Yeah. Well, there's so many good things from the 3D era to pick out of.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have seen things differently, but I'm happy to see that we're getting some of the stuff like the fact that we got Serena, like that's cool. And
You said it, not me.
yeah, well, it is cool. It was in a cool design, and we got Shujinko and like things like that, even though they're just cameos.
Mavado.
Yeah, like,
and I mean, it's time we mention these things. It's been a few days, so spoiler alert, just very quick for Takeda's ending. 1, 2, 3. Dagon turns up as well as Mavado. It's cool to see the Red Dragon is appearing as well, right?
I haven't watched Takeda's ending yet.
I gave you so much time to stop me. I literally did it on purpose in case you didn't.
No, I know. Thanks, Yanni.
I literally gave you a spoiler alert and you didn't stop me. That's your fault. That is totally your fault. Anyway, one thing that's important though, about what we were just talking about with the Kamidogu, is because you asked me, are there 6 Kamidogu? And something just clicked in my mind. There are 6 Kamidogu technically, but there's actually 7.
What was the 7th?
And the Amulet of Shinnok.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the 6 are only the ones that Shujinko had gathered.
Yes, exactly. And we haven't seen Shinnok in this timeline. So I'm wondering if either the amulet doesn't exist, and it's just 6 Kamidogu now, like for sure 6 Kamidogu, or Quan Chi has it, or big reveal, Shinnok or something, you know what I mean?
That's a really interesting point, that we haven't seen Shinnok in this timeline, nor his amulet, which makes me wonder if that was one of the big things that Liu Kang did when he created the new era, was kind of like all the trouble that Shinnok and his amulet caused for everybody. It would make sense to get rid of that.
Well, the amulet does turn up in the MK1 story. It's a big plot device.
Shinnok's amulet was in Mortal Kombat 1?
Yeah, that's what Titan Shang Tsung brings into the timeline to give power.
Yeah, but was it in Liu Kang's timeline at all on its own though?
Oh, that's a good point.
Right.
That's a very good point. It was brought in from a different timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But does it exist already in this one?
And it could be that there are no Kamidogu in this timeline. I don't know.
But by saying that, then the realms wouldn't exist either.
True. I don't know.
But that is something that made me wonder as well when we started talking about the Kamidogu, and this is why this part was so important for us to talk about, in my opinion, because we have 6 Kamidogu, and we have each of the realms that they correspond to, but we have also established that at least in the main timeline, Seido Realm and Chaos Realm are one.
Yeah.
So which realm is the replacement? Viternus, maybe? right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
what if, again, now sort of with Kamidogu, what if the whole point, I suppose, of bringing in the Amulet of Shinnok in the main story was to set this up?
Yeah, maybe that's why he's here, is to find out what happened to that amulet.
Or maybe he doesn't realize that there's supposed to be an amulet, just like Shujinko didn't know. And he's trying to use the power, and it's not going to work without it. There's a lot here. There's a lot to unpack here.
There really is.
Like we've done it in such a convoluted way too, as we just like start to remember bits of lore and such that we haven't discussed in so long. But it's. I'd like to hear. You know who I'd like to hear his thoughts on this? Tabmock.
Oh yeah,
I think you'd have some very cool insights on this. So a little shout out to Tabmock right there.
And also, I'm interested in what you guys that are watching this think. Let us know in the comments, like, if you have any thoughts on this, because this is a lot. This is some deep lore right here, and as we've talked about,
we could be
recently,
completely wrong.
Yeah. And like on our last Realm Kast episode, where we had all the different podcasters come on, Mortal Kombat podcasters, we talked about it with Enter Another Realm, that the stuff like the One Being and the Kamidogu and stuff, it's not really like, that's such deep lore that most people don't know about it. And so like, it's interesting that they're incorporating that a little bit more in the story. I don't know. We'll see what we get, but definitely let us know your thoughts.
This one's very interesting to me. The colors correspond, the amount corresponds, even I'm pretty sure the shapes correspond, and I'm pretty sure again that I'm seeing the actual Kamidogu sort of crystallized inside. I don't know. I'm very curious to see where this goes. This for me was the coolest part of the reveal. Not even Noob Saibot.
Yeah.
This.
Okay, Yanni, you're now at an hour of your 20 minutes. So
nice. Keep that in the episode.
This will be amusing.
we see this amazing Havoc fight, and the coolest part is when he takes his head off and
just whacks everybody with
yeah,
it,
and then hits the gong.
But this is in Outworld, by the way.
It's in Outworld. Oh, you're
that's
right.
in Sindel's
it's at the throne room. Yeah,
the throne room.
Yeah, you're right. I thought it was at Liu Kang's temple.
Yeah, no, that was a different fight. This one is in Outworld, which makes me wonder, because we've seen the fight with the Lin Kuei at the Shaolin Temple and Liu Kang's temple, but then we've only up until now seen Titan Havoc in the Chaos Realm. But now we're seeing him in Outworld, which is also looking very, well, corrupted. And I'm wondering at 156 if that's a portal bringing them through from the Chaos Realm. 156.
Yeah, and at 156 in the thing too, there are what appears to be Chaos
Realmers,
yeah, that are capturing. Oh, you know who they're capturing? I can tell on my screenshot. It's Geras. Yeah, if you look at my screen.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes. So maybe this is early on.
Yeah, this could be when Geras first gets abducted.
Or midway through, actually. But yeah, this there's so much to unpack here. We keep saying it, like, this is a very heavy trailer.
There's a lot of story happening here.
Will the threats from these titans never cease? Tell me, how do we escape this crisis?
It disgusts me how you've corrupted the Lin Kuei.
Make no mistake, we are here because of your treachery.
There will be blood.
I mean, we get our first real reveal and of Cyrax's face. And I think you want to talk a little bit more about the fact that they seem to be humans instead of cyborgs.
Yeah, because one of the big things that happened so far in, I believe, every timeline was the cyberization process, right? The Cyber Lin Kuei initiative. So the whole point and problem, I suppose, was that they were turning their members into cyborgs, right? Removing them of their free will. The whole point was to make the most optimized soldiers, right?
Yeah.
Not just in terms of combat ability, but also in terms of combat decision, etc. No emotion, just following orders. Basically, creating the perfect super soldiers by giving them all the strength and none of the decision making, because you get to make that decision by making that order.
Mm-hmm.
So we then have already discussed that it's become the Lin Kuei Industries.
Yeah.
They're obviously very tech focused. And one of the big problems that we've seen in the previous timeline is the fact that, they've always taken that free will. We've seen Smoke,
lost their
Cyrax,
humanity.
Sector. Yeah, exactly. They lose their humanity, and what they thought was their soul until it was proven, otherwise. But in this one, we see Cyrax and Sector, and it's revealed that they're actually human. Like, okay, yeah, they're female now instead. Okay,
right.
That's a twist on things, and I mean, people have been expecting some twists like this for quite a while. I believe that people are theorizing that Fujin is Raiden's sister. But the big reveal here for me is actually that they're still human. They've retained their humanity, and it's just they're cyberized rather than turned into cyborgs.
Well, even the way Cyrax speaks to Kuai Liang, she says, "Make no mistakes, we're here because of your treachery." Like, this is a very personal decision rather than some robots being sent after him. This isn't a program. This is a decision to follow orders.
Yes.
So yeah, that humanity definitely seems to be part of the storyline. And basically, right after they show,
sorry, I just
Cyrax,
figured something out. I just figured something out.
No, I already figured it out, and I'm about to tell everybody.
Tell me. High five.
So whenever they show Sector putting on her face mask, we see the soldier that you had mentioned earlier, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's that soldier. But it's not just any soldier. This is Johnny Cage dressed up like a soldier. And I kind of love it, because I just imagine Johnny Cage, they'd be like, we need to do some special ops, and then him showing up.
Just dressing up, yeah.
From the costume department or something.
I'm just so happy it's not a random soldier.
I know. I noticed it while we were watching it, and then when I paused it here a second ago, I was like, oh wait, that's Johnny. So
but it's funny because right before that in the scene, we actually see Noob Saibot fighting Chaos Geras.
Oh yeah.
In this big fight, and which looks to be in the same. Is it the Gateway, where they fought?
Where
the Deadly Alliance basically was formed. Yeah.
And it looks like the same place.
And also on top of that, the dialogue.
Will the threats from these titans never cease?
Is it Melina? Will the threats from these titans never cease?
Yeah.
Honestly, I gotta say this. I agree. It's a very cool story. It is. I just wish it wasn't timeline focused.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. It should have been realm focused.
I feel like
sorry.
Liu Kang really made things worse.
He really did. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the stakes are so much higher, and that's kind of been the thing always with Mortal Kombat, is how do you raise the stakes? And I guess, we've seen how far they go. We've fought gods, we've fought elder gods, we're fighting titans now, so here we are.
Then we see a big fight between Noob Saibot and Scorpion right before we see Havoc
Yeah, with the
hitting
head gong.
the gong with his spinal cord and head. That is a genius scene, in my opinion. But the next scene is actually very interesting because we see two things. One, the Lin Kuei symbol on the back, but not saying Lin Kuei Industries on Cyrax. But Cyrax, what seems to be gate crashing.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say Hanzo. Kuai Liang's wedding, because that is his wedding attire, judging by the pre-order bonus.
Right. So, Kuai Liang is either attending a wedding or getting married. And I think the running theory is
that is, in my opinion, Kuai Liang getting married to Harumi, just like has been hinted in the invasion seasons, in the character dialogues. We're going to see Harumi in the story here. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's pretty cool. But then the dialogue is quite interesting too, because he says, it disgusts me how you've corrupted the Lin Kuei. And then right after that, we see Cyrax and Sector fighting.
Yeah. So
that's when it comes to what you said earlier. We are here, make no mistake, we are here because of your treachery. What if it's Cyrax, who is now the evil one between the two?
Oh, that's a good point. All the Cyrax dialogue so far has leaned more to that side of the kind of role that we're used to with Sector. We're not seeing the more friendly Cyrax that we got in Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a really cool fight in what seems to be like the forest. The living forest in there.
Well, the dead forest, or I forgot what they called it. The corrupted forest.
The corrupted forest. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. I'm really wondering about, because you look at his face, and you can hear it in his voice, the venom, right?
Oh yeah.
And then following up immediately with the fight after between the two cyborgs, something happens. And I don't know. I just get this vibe that Sector's going to be the good one this time. I don't know. Like, I could be completely wrong, but I don't know. Just that dialogue makes me wonder.
I think you could be right on this. We've definitely had expectations diverted in this new era, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're getting the evil Cyrax this time.
We then see Takeda fighting Noob Saibot, while Liu Kang fights Chaos Kenshi in the background, and that lends credence to what you said about Noob Saibot potentially joining forces with them.
Yeah. Or Noob Saibot could be on his own and just kind of fighting next to them.
Or that.
And
then right after that, who do we see getting shredded?
Is that Bihan again? No, that's not Bihan.
No, that's Kuai Liang this time.
Oh.
But Chaos Kuai Liang.
Yeah. Chaos Kuai Liang is gone.
With a very brutal fatality.
It really is. And again, this is a story mode fatality. So
yeah, I'm wondering if these story mode fatalities will sort of be echoed in his actual fatalities or even brutalities. But one thing that I noticed right after in that scene is it's kind of cool. Firstly, I've realized I've been trying to figure out why his mask is so familiar to me, because it is a very new look for him. But it reminds me of a sort of blend of 3D era Ermac and Rain.
Oh, who's this? Noob Saibot?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You see what I mean with the emblem and that sort of being like kind of cloth-like and everything. I don't know. It's very, very Ermac and Rain to me, But
yeah.
More interestingly, he has a hand on his thigh.
I know. I was going to say that too. I wonder why or who.
I have the answer.
Do you? What is it?
Yeah. He was playing in Invasions mode. It's a relic.
Oh my gosh. I was gonna make an onslaught joke, but too soon.
Too soon. Would you like a hand with that?
All right. Anyways, let's keep going.
There will be blood.
All right. So the last scene before the credits is Havoc saying there will be blood, with his chesticles lighting up.
Kamidogu nipples.
Yeah.
But it's also in the gateway again, I believe, looking at the background.
Yeah, I believe you're right. So I think everything that Shang Tsung did in year one of Mortal Kombat 1 really has led to this in a bigger way than we kind of thought. As like at the end of Mortal Kombat 1, you just see Havoc showing up and he's like, it's time to cause some chaos or something, and you're like, okay, Havoc's gonna be there. But and your whole idea is Havoc's here because all the Titans know about each other now and that sort of thing, but I think there's a lot more happening. I think he's definitely there for a particular reason, because everything we've seen so far, the kidnapping of Geras, even the conversion of Bihan, seems to be for some kind of reason. And the battles, now at the portal stage, it's as if he has some kind of mission, a chaotic plan. I don't know. I'm hoping it's more like Joker kind of chaos, than actually a organized chaos.
And when you say Joker kind of chaos, I think the best description here is actually just 3D era chaos.
Yeah,
OG
exactly.
Havoc style. I'm very excited to see what happens with the Kamidogu. That I am fully invested on this. That as I said earlier is the coolest part for me. But I'm just curious to see how everything comes together, because we can use our experience from the original trailers, the character trailers, the intro dialogues that were revealed and everything, and we know that they actually did a really, really good job with telling us but not telling us the story. And I mean, we all initially assumed it was the return of, say, Onaga as Damashi,
Right.
etc. Then we had the whole, oh no, it's Shang Tsung, he's back, and they've done a very good job at hiding this stuff in the trailers, and
Yeah.
I commend them for that. It's a very, very cool thing, but that also makes me wonder if there's stuff that we're being tricked by in this trailer.
Oh, I mean, with year one, we like you said, we were tricked pretty heavily, because there were so many things that we kind of expected and were led to. And, I even heard some people kind of saying, the story that I had expected ended up being better than the story that I got. It's because our expectations get so high on these sort of things. And
I think it's, like, I get that, and definitely we have high expectations as Mortal Kombat fans. I think, as I said earlier, and this is kind of getting off the point here, but I think it was just that everybody was kind of fatigued of the timeline stuff,
Yeah.
and the Titan stuff too, especially with all the inconsistencies it creates, and that's, it's led to this story, which is cool to see. But I understand that thought process for sure as well.
My biggest hope for this is Mortal Kombat 11's aftermath, in my opinion, was like the best part of Mortal Kombat 11's story.
Yes, agreed.
And so I'm hoping, like, with Khaos Reigns, it's the aftermath of Mortal Kombat 1. Like, it's the kind of, like we said before, like, we loved Mortal Kombat 1's story up to a certain point, and then we're like, okay, it kind of died down here. And so I'm hoping Khaos Reigns kind of picks everything back up, and you're like, okay, that was fun. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just one thing to mention very quickly as well is, we talked about the Wedding Scorpion skin. So that's one of the pre-order bonuses. We do have the pre-order bonuses showing up at the end of this trailer. And 2 of them are just, UMK3 Sub-Zero, UMK3 Noob Saibot, which is interesting because they're both Bihan skins. But more importantly, we have Wedding Scorpion and Empress Melina. And those, in my opinion, are going to be story focused. So we're going to see Scorpion's wedding, but we're also most likely going to see Melina being crowned as Empress. She's going to be coronated because Sindel.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're watching this at this point, then. But so we're going to see Melina's coronation, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
That makes me wonder what's going to happen with Ermac, Sindel, King Jared as well. Are they going to be referred to in the story, or are they going to be swept to the side and forgotten about entirely?
That'll be interesting too for interactions between Noob Saibot and Sindel during the in-game, the pre-battle dialogues. Like, I wonder how they're going to write that stuff out, because it's not really canonical or lore based, but it is important to a lot of fans how those kind of interactions go.
And there is one thing that just did click in my head as well. I totally forgot about when we were talking about Shinnok's amulet, and you mentioned that we don't see Shinnok at all. I had a theory when the game released that I still kind of stick to, and something has happened recently that, in my opinion, has given it more fire. I still think that Shao, or General Shao, could potentially this time be Shinnok's son because of the horns. I've mentioned this before.
What? Really?
Now, there's a reason I'm mentioning this.
So many people thought it was Onaga's son, and then that was kind of didn't lead anywhere. But
well, it didn't. It wasn't debunked, was it? Onaga does turn up in the character endings.
Yeah.
But Shinnok is not mentioned. Shao has horns very, very similar to corrupted Shinnok in in MKX, right? His corrupted form. We could also argue it could potentially be Belloc, as I've mentioned before. But with Takeda's release, there's an intro dialogue between him and Shao where he says, those horns, what species are you? And then Shao says something, I can't remember exactly, says something along the lines of, what's the point in telling a dead man? You know, so I don't know. For me, it's kind of the fact that they've asked it in a character intro dialogue makes me wonder if it could potentially be important or if it's just them poking fun at the fans. But I don't know. It kind of relates to the fact that we were talking about Shinnok's amulet and the fact that Shinnok has not appeared. I wonder if there is a big reveal of Shinnok.
That's I guess we'll find out here. Do we have a release date on this already?
24th of September 2024, I believe. And
all right,
all 3 Mortal Kombat characters should be dropping at once, apparently.
Nice. So
that's nice, rather than the trickle, as we had with Combat Pack 1.
So, I mean, we're not going to really talk about guest characters. Everybody who watches our show kind of knows our feelings on guest characters, even though they're fun, but can't be fun.
I mean, I do just want to say that it's cool that we'll get to fight as a character who doesn't know how to fight.
You're really salty about Ghostface, aren't you?
And it's just so good to be able to play as a Terminator for after the such a long time since Mortal Kombat 11.
Anyways, moving on. I did have one more breakdown analysis that I wanted to showcase. I thought this was really interesting during the Animalities scene. So we see the different Animalities. We see the hyena, the gorilla, the hippo, but in the skeleton T-Rex, but the wolf Animality. And I don't think I can show it on screen because YouTube will come after us. But it's not just a wolf; it's a wolf and what looks like
Spirit
wolf. Yeah. Was it Kiba, or it depends on the lore that you're going off of.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's am I right? And there's no Nightwolf in MK1, so I'm wondering.
Exactly, and I wondered this exact thing when it happened. I was like, but that's Nightwolf.
Yeah.
And who else could it be?
Well, that's the thing is, I don't know, and I don't like maybe the Animalities are not the characters that they're coming with. You know what I mean? Like, like you made a joke during our reveal that we're seeing a scorpion instead of a penguin for Scorpion.
Yeah.
Because that's based off like Mortal Kombat 3, because they gave Scorpion to somebody else in Mortal Kombat 3, and then they introduced Scorpion in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and so they had to give him something. But yeah, what if we have like some kind of cameo appearance of characters who are going to be doing fatalities, or excuse me, Animalities? I don't know, just a thought. Or it could be something completely different.
I think it could be what you said, or more likely, in my opinion, to be either Kenshi, Takeda, because of the telekinesis.
Oh,
right.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And Takeda is mentioned to sort of hunt, right, as well.
Yeah.
And then also, hunting-wise, Smoke. It would make less sense, but I believe it would most likely be more.
I think you're probably right. It's probably Kenshi, but one can.
And I just want to get this. I want to get this out there. I think that the T-Rex is Reptile.
You think so?
Yeah, because it looks like there's acid falling off the skeleton.
Oh, who was the T-Rex in Mortal Kombat 3? Stryker. It was Stryker.
Oh God, don't even say it.
I mean, that would be cool to see Stryker show up and do like a cameo.
What if cameos have Animalities too? I doubt it, but that would be pretty interesting. It's cool. Right. I do want to say as well, though, it is cool that the Animalities are a free part of the update. That is nice to see.
Wait, so it's not tis the season. It's not like National Zoo Month and purchasing it.
Like I think friendships were also free with MK11's Aftermath. But that makes me wonder too, because this has been advertised initially as Year 2 of Mortal Kombat, but they have been specifically stated to be Combat Pack 2. Whereas, was it Combat Pack 2 in MK11, or was it just Aftermath Pack?
I
think Rain, Melina, and Rambo were Combat Pack 2, but we had an Aftermath expansion with characters too, and they were not called Combat Pack 2.
Yeah, because Aftermath came with Nightwolf, Joker, Terminator, and Fujin. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm wondering about that. It's weird that they've called it Combat Pack 2. I really, really hope that doesn't mean there's no more combat packs to come.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. I mean,
you know,
it makes me nervous.
Yeah, I know it's not fair to say that right after a reveal, but I think if anything, it's the most perfect time to say it too, because look at the reaction. Everybody loves it, and they're not the first characters I would have picked myself. They're not. It's cool to see Cyrax Sector return. I'm happy with Noob Saibot personally. He has always been one of the top characters for me. But there's I feel like Mortal Kombat 1 has so much more. I know there's been quite a negative aura about it lately, and that I think is down to communication and lack of proper updates and such. But I think that Mortal Kombat 1 really could be on the right track if this kind of content continues.
So we're getting Cyrax Sector, Noob Saibot, and then we're getting, is it 3 guests?
3 guests.
T-1000, Conan, and Ghostface. So we're getting 6 characters with this.
With 3 characters, the guest characters, to, in my opinion, from what I've understood from it, to most likely be trickled released later.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's kind of what we expect at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, again, to be fair to them, all 3 characters for the combat pack that are Mortal Kombat focused are coming out with the expansion. It makes sense, of course, but it's cool to see that. I'm glad we don't have to wait, and it's also pretty cool that it's not so far away either.
Yeah, really. We're only a few months away, so
and that'll actually be 2 days after Cleveland Gaming Con.
Oh, should we go ahead and mention that?
Yeah, maybe we should.
I mean,
now's a good time, right?
Yeah.
It's long enough episode at this point. So,
so if you're still here and you are excited about Mortal Kombat at all, so Ed Boon, John Tobias, Kerry Hoskins, and Sal DeVita are all going to be at the Cleveland Gaming
Say it 3
Classic.
times really fast.
So
and
not just that, yes, we will be there too.
So are we.
Yeah, so you will get to meet myself and Yanni, and we'll be co-hosting the Mortal Kombat reunion panel, where you will get to hear from the Mortal Kombat legends themselves, co-creators and actors who worked on the original Mortal Kombat games. And while we're there, we'll be talking to you guys, meeting you, trying to hand out some swag to you guys because we love you and we would love to meet you. So if you're going to be in the Cleveland area, do come out and see us. Come out and see Ed and John, Carrie and Sal. Also, it's all for a good cause. We're going to be there raising money for Fight for Rare, which is the Radiant Science Foundation's charity, which they are actually putting all that money into doing research for very rare diseases. So come out for a good cause, meet Mortal Kombat, period.
Yeah, this is Mortal Kombat, and it's as Phantom just said, it's for a good cause. This is going to be a really cool event. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about it already, grabbing tickets and such. We will be there. It'll also be the first time I get to meet Phantom in person, by the way, everybody, so it's pretty cool too.
So yes, come see us, come hang out. Let's play some Mortal Kombat together.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
And with that, I think we've done a lot more than just analyze the trailer. This has been quite the reveal. I am very, very impressed with what they've shown off today. It's pretty cool to see some new designs, of course, but also to theorize on what is happening with the Mortal Kombat story and what we can expect.
Yes, and if you're watching this, just remember, like I always say, Ghostface for Mortal Kombat 1.
Come on, what was his account? Because he's been on the premieres a lot.
He changes it, but he's basically Ghostface for Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah, pretty much. And like I'm personally not. It's not that I don't like Ghostface. I just I'm not a fan of guest characters as a whole. But I'm actually so happy for him.
Oh, same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I love it when like hardcore Mortal Kombat fans get what they want, and not the ones that just kind of show up and are like really protesting something.
He's been going since the beginning.
Since day one, he's been wanting it. So
shout out zero
shout out to Ghostface for Mortal Kombat 1.
You got it, man. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us today, combatants. If you found this discussion enlightening, then why not further support the channel by buying us a coffee?
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your insights contribute to the ongoing conversation around Mortal Kombat, and we look forward to hearing your unique perspectives.
If you found this Tricotin Bite-Size episode interesting, be sure to check out our other Bite-Size videos, as well as our other content, including guest interviews and deep dive analyses.
Until next time, remember, every warrior has a story, and every saga a lesson.